Hi friends, my name is Emily and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the books that I read in August. So the first book that I read in August was for the Small Book Club, which is a live stream discussion that I host here on YouTube. I will leave a link to the live stream above. And the book that we were talking about was Silver in the Wood by Emily Tesh. This is a fantasy novella that is playing with the Green Man mythology. This gets marketed as like queer romance. I don't know if I agree that that is true. While our main character, the Green Man Tobias, is queer, and the landowner, Henry Silver, is queer, then they do flirt. When you tell me this is a romance, I have different expectations than what is here. This is a book that I feel like has good vibes and good ideas in both parts 1 and 2, but parts 1 and 2 belong to entirely different stories, in my opinion. The first half is really folklore, whimsical, mysterious. The second part is alternate universe Victorian era monster hunters. And the sequel leans into that and feels more cohesive with the duology, the Green Hollow duology as a whole. I did read the sequel just a few days ago, early in September. This by itself feels fairly disjointed between parts 1 and 2. The more that I read this, so I read this for the first time I think in 2020 when it first came out, and I really enjoyed it because I was like, ooh, weird, wacky, spectacle vibes. On the reread, I was trying to make sense of it because the climax of this novel is really confusing. The more I reread this, the less I like it because the less sense it makes. And I feel like that might be feedback that the author is aware of, because in the sequel, Drowned Country, there are moments where the characters themselves explain what exactly happened in the climax of the novel, being like, oh no, this is what happened. Great vibes, great writing, but I feel like a novella is a challenge that not every writer can nail. Short stories and novellas are a specific skill. And when you see somebody who does it well, you applaud them for making satisfying short fiction. I feel like I would like to see what she would do with a novel, and I do believe that she has a novel coming out soon. So I'm not writing her off because I like her writing and I like the larger themes of her work, but I think that the novella is not where this is going to shine. I think there's too much going on here and it needs a novel length to develop and to flesh out, because both of these feel, I don't know, like you've caught the scent of something on the breeze and then you're like, wait, what was that? And you try and figure out what it was and you just can't capture that scent again. They just sort of feel like they're slipping through your fingers. On the reread, I lowered this from 4 to 3 stars. I finished it on August 4th. The next book that I read was a new buy. I am allowed to buy sequels with my no buy rules, and that is A Prayer for the Crown Shy by Becky Chambers. This is the second Monk and Robot book, and in this book, Dex and Mosscap are going on like a grand city tour where the robot is sort of checking in on humanity and seeing what humanity needs in this post-smart tech world. So the premise of this book is that at some point, robots and smart tech became sentient, and at that point, humans decided to abandon all tech, free the sentient tech into the wilds, and let them do what they want, and return to a more sustainable low-tech, yeah, I would say low-tech, environmentally friendly way of living. Book 1 sort of starts when Dex, our tea monk, meets a robot who's like, well, it's been X number of years, like 100 years or something. The robots have appointed me to like reach out to humanity and just see how you all are doing. And so this is the robot's journey checking in with humans. I liked the first book more than this one. The first book really hit me emotionally in a way that this one didn't quite as much. I would still keep reading. Obviously, I will read anything that Becky Chambers puts out at this point. This wasn't a 5-star read the way the first one was. I wasn't blown away with it the way I was blown away with the first book. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I finished this on August 8th and it was a new buy. Then I read the 3rd book in the Mistborn series. With each book, my expectations of Brandon Sanderson have gone down because it was so hyped for me to begin with that I really hated the first book. And then I had my expectations reset for the 2nd book and enjoyed it a little bit more. And then I had my expectations like even lower for this book and just sort of accepted it as like, somebody recently described Brandon Sanderson as like Stephen King for fantasy. So like in the way that Stephen King is really popular and brings people into reading horror and exploring the genre, Brandon Sanderson serves a similar function. He is like popular and prolific enough that he's always coming out with new things to bring in new readers. But if you're familiar with the genre, I did my master's in this genre, if you're familiar with the genre, you're going to sort of be let down because what he's doing isn't revolutionary, but it's inviting, which I feel like is a good assessment of this series. I can't really talk about this because it's the 3rd book in a trilogy, and anything worth discussing about Hero of Ages is major spoilers for the series. Let's just say I'm deeply annoyed with some of the things that happened here, but there is a precedent for it in the body of fantasy literature that exists out there. I could predict everything that happened here. I was waiting for it and hoping that it wouldn't happen, and it did. Do I think Mistborn was worth it? I mean, I owned the books already, so it was worth it to maybe see what everyone was talking about and to experience for myself. I know in the comments of videos I was like, oh, maybe I'll give Brandon Sanderson one more chance with a more recent book. Maybe someday, but I'm in no rush to pick up any more Brandon Sanderson. Am I happy that I pulled this off the TBR finally? I have experienced this hyped author. Yes, but Brandon Sanderson I don't think is for me. I finished that on August 9th. I gave it 3 stars and it was from my TBR. Oh, then I borrowed If I Never Met You by Mhairi McFarlane. This is like To All the Boys for adults. Laurie ends up fake dating Playboy Jamie after her partner of 18 years dumps her. To be honest, if it weren't for the notes that I have here, I wouldn't be able to tell you literally anything about this book. It was truly nothing special. I can't remember why it was on my list. I wonder if it was on like a quarterly wish list from a recommendation from somewhere and it finally came in at the library. I just know that all of a sudden it popped up on my library holds list and it was like, do I have 6 hours to like do chores and listen to this? And I was like, yeah, I do. It's always easy to listen to like a lighter, predictable text like this. I don't think I would read another book by Mhairi McFarlane. I finished this on August 16th. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars and I borrowed it. Then, phenomenal, this is the winner, like the standout read of this month. Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaghy is my Q2 wish list treat book that spiraled into a book haul. If you've seen my last video. It's so satisfying that after like carefully choosing, carefully narrowing down everything, looking at reviews, that this book worked out so well. This is so good. It does have pretty clear environmental message. So Inti is our main character. We are following her as she comes to Scotland as part of a program to reintroduce wolves into the environment and set the ecosystem to rights. Because the wolves have been hunted to extinction, herbivores are overpopulated, overeating, and plant life is dying out, forests are dying out, and forests are huge carbon sucks, and they put out oxygen which humans breathe. So they're very important. So they're trying to restore this ecosystem, and they're coming up against the local farmers who are worried about their livestock. And so like the main through line of this book is reintroducing wolves, and it's going to cause local drama. Things that sort of get folded into this are Aggie, Inti's identical twin, who is incredibly shut down. Content warning for very graphic abuse, sexual abuse, domestic abuse, violence against women. There is a lot of violence in this book. At multiple points, a local woman is being abused by her husband. There's a little bit of a murder mystery that's happening in here. Was it a human who did the murder? Was it the wolves who did the murder? Who knows? Inti ends up sort of in a romantic entanglement with the local cop Duncan, who is very much anti-wolf. And so we're looking at the environment, we're looking at relationships, we're looking at abusive relationships, we're looking at sister relationships and family relationships, and it all comes together so beautifully. I thought this was so well done, considering that it's kind of an odd initial concept and there are so many moving pieces. This was such a quick read for myself. Like, I flew through this book. I'm so pleased that I chose this book. I have like 5 pages written about this book here. Oh, another content warning. This is a book with wolves in it and hunters who are allowed to shoot the wolf if it's attacking their livestock or coming near their livestock. So if it bothers you if the dog dies in a text, several dogs die in this text. And I don't think that's a spoiler either. It's sort of built into the premise of this. Lots of content warnings, but if you are in a place to read it, it's just a little bit of everything and it works so well. And I keep thinking about this book and bringing it into so many other things that I'm reading now. I finished this on August 22nd. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and this was a new buy. The last book that I read in August was a reread, and I reread The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I know this is sort of a Marmite book. Folks either love or hate it. They say it's very fan fiction-y, criticize, I guess, the quality of this construction. Personally, I am exploring the genre. I am not very well versed in it, and I just love the idea of women in STEM doing academic things and then there also being like a romance plotline in the university setting. So we have a fake dating scenario happening here between Olive and Adam. I think Olive is a PhD candidate. Adam is a professor at the university already, and he's quite like surly and off-putting. I really enjoyed this fluff. Like, this specific setting works for me in the academic space, works for me. I bought into the hype and I think it's fun and I enjoyed rereading this. I gave that 4 out of 5 stars. I finished it on August 28th and that was a reread. So those are all of the books that I read in August. I do want to quickly promote the 2 book club books that are happening right now. So in September, I am reading Cujo. This is a patron-exclusive book club. It's part of the Readrum Book Club where we're reading Stephen King's books in publication order. For patrons, we are meeting on Saturday, August 1st at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to discuss Cujo. I'm very excited for Cujo. This has been hyped up for me quite a bit over the years and I am looking forward to this. So if you want to join that, it's available to patrons at all tiers. If you are just looking to join a book club, read something a little bit weird during the spooky season, the small book club book for October is The Midwich Cuckoos by John Wyndham. This is about a small village where one night everybody goes to bed and the next morning a bunch of women wake up pregnant. The clutch that was fathered on the quiet little village of Midwich one night in September proved to possess a monstrous will of its own. It promised to make the human race look as dated as the dinosaur. Exciting, unsettling, and technically brilliant. This we will be meeting on Wednesday, November 2nd at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a live stream that is open to everyone on YouTube. So that is all of the things that I have to say here. Thank you to my patrons who make videos like this possible. I really appreciate the work that they enable me to do, and I appreciate their participation in these live stream events. It's nice to chat with folks and like see names come up over and over again. It's been a lot of fun, so thank you. I hope you are all doing well, that you are staying safe, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye!